how to properly use a spray-on rinse-off sealant. First of all, what is that? A sealant that you're spraying on a wet surface that you're rinsing off, is it really providing any protection? Is it doing anything? Also, tips and tricks on how you can actually use this correctly so you guys can get the best results. So what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pan the Organizer. So today we're talking about spray-on rinse-off type sealants. By the way, don't worry, I'll make sure to include the links to all the tools, products, and equipment in the description under the video for you guys to check them out. So all you have to do is sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. So let's dive right into it. First of all, before we do the demo, so you guys can see how we actually use these, what is a spray-on rinse-off sealant? So we're used to seeing ceramic coatings, right? The ones in glass vials, those are multiple year type paint protections. We all know about carnauba waxes. We all know about paint sealants. We also have, in the recent years, have seen not only ceramic coatings, but ceramic spray type coatings or spray sealants, right? This is a good example here, the Clean by Pan the Organizer ceramic spray sealant. But the particularity of this one, it can be used in 3 different ways. So you can use it on a dry surface as a quick detailer. This will provide you many months of protection, but you can also use it as a drying aid on a wet surface with your microfiber drying towel on here as a spray-on rinse-off sealant. Now, obviously you're diluting this on the surface, so you're not going to get the maximum protection, maybe 1 to 3 months with the majority of the brands and products that do this type of thing. But what you're looking for is speed, efficiency, quickness, and you can pretty much cover the entire surface, or the exterior surface of your vehicle, from the paintwork to the wheels, to the plastic trim, the lights, the tail lights, also the glass, and we're going to dive into all of that. But some of my favorite ones, so you guys understand there are many on the market, but some of my favorites, and you've seen videos on my channel, Geon Wet Coat is a spray-on rinse-off sealant, one of the OGs in that department, right? Of course, the classic CarPro Hydro 2 Light. These, by the way, are ready-to-use style formats, so these are exceptional. Some of the more recent additions to the line of spray-on rinse-off is the Quick Beads by DIY Detail. This one here being graphene infused, the other ones being more ceramic type products. One of the latest as well, this is Quiver Hot Coat from the I'm Josh V channel. He's a professional mobile detailer. So all these can act as spray-on rinse-off sealants. And so it doesn't really matter which one you pick. What we're giving today for tips and tricks is going to be applied for all of them. So the first order of business, never apply these on a dirty vehicle. You're going to start by washing the car completely and thoroughly rinsing it down. You always apply spray-on rinse-off sealants as your last step on a clean vehicle, and obviously while it's still wet after you're done doing your final rinse. Another quick tip, although the majority of them, if you know how to use them properly, you can use them outside. Do not work in direct sunlight or under hot panels, right? So if your vehicle is outside in the scorching sun, avoid that. Work in the shade and on a cool surface. If not, you run the risk of having streaking issues or smearing or all that type of stuff, regardless, again, of which product and which brand. Work in optimal conditions. Pick an overcast day. Work as late as possible in the day. Again, try to avoid direct sunlight, especially hours at noon where the sun is at its brightest and hottest, unless you're a mobile detailer and you know what you're doing because you have the experience, right? Also, I would highly recommend that you always start by reading the instructions on the labels. All of the brands work diligently to explain how to use them, so there can be some variances. For example, some are made to spray on and immediately rinse off, like mine, for example, like the Geon Wet Coat, for example, and some are meant to have a 30 seconds dwell time, like this one here. So this is the Rogue Hot Coat. You're supposed to leave it on for 30 seconds of dwell time before rinsing off. So again, familiarize yourself before the first use with the product itself. Read the instructions, get to understand how the manufacturer wants you to use it, and you're going to get the optimal results. Another quick tip, I would work one panel at a time. Although some of them you can walk around the entire vehicle if you work in optimal conditions or controlled environment like mine, ideally you would want to work panel per panel. That again gets you the best user experience and avoids you getting streaking. Because don't forget, these guys, the spray on rinse off sealants, they're super highly concentrated forms, right, in this liquid, and you're spraying them on a surface and then spreading them with water. You're trying to do the best job as possible, but you can have hard water, for example, with a high ppm count of minerals, and that can react differently, and you can be in hot conditions, don't work on hot panels, all those variables, you want to try and avoid them as much as possible, again, to get the best user experience. So I would work panel per panel, which means you would spray on the surface and then rinse. We're going to see how we're going to rinse because that's important as well. And then that should do the trick. And then move on to the next panel, so on and so forth. And then when you're done, it's super easy because you're going to have nice hydrophobic properties. So you can just use a car dryer or a leaf blower to blow dry the vehicle. So that 100% contactless method avoids any marring or scratching. Or you can use your microfiber drying towel if you want to at this point. Maybe a few sprays of a quick detail spray type thing on the towel itself just to act as a lubricant between the towel and the surface. And then you can towel dry and then you're good to go. So again, depending on which product, these can provide a few months of protection at best. We're not looking for long-term protection, right? You're not looking at 1 to 2 years like a ceramic coating with spray on rinse off. What you're looking for this is speed, efficiency, and we mainly use these as toppers. So yes, you can use them on unprotected paint. You're going to get 1, 2, 3 months, again, depending on many variables, right? For durability, the conditions, the prep, the application, the weather where you live in, the maintenance that you're doing, all those can influence how long a product lasts. But so yeah, you can use them as a standalone product on unprotected paint, but we mainly use these as toppers over your existing protection. It doesn't matter if it's a wax, a paint sealant, or a ceramic coating. You can typically apply these on all your existing protection. All right, guys, for the demo. Now, the vehicle has been entirely washed at this point. We did a thorough job of rinsing it. So by the time you're done doing the entire vehicle, you want to make sure before you start applying your spray-on rinse-off sealant that you make sure the surfaces are wet. So use your pressure washer or garden hose once again and wet the vehicle. And we're also going to see the baseline of hydrophobic properties, because what I like from good spray-on rinse-off sealants is that they do not alter the hydrophobic properties of your existing protection, meaning it should not degrade the amazing properties like this vehicle here has the Clean by Pan, the Organizer 3-year ceramic coating, exceptional water beading and sheeting. So we want to maintain that, right? So let's start by wetting the surface, and it's going to give you a baseline also of how the hydrophobics are currently doing both on glass and on the paint. So as you can tell, we're getting quick sheeting, we're getting beautiful round water beads, both on the glass and on the paint. So what we're going to do, first of all, quick pro tip, once again, always make sure with spray-on rinse-off sealants that you use a strong stream of water. That is very important. Ideally, you want to use a pressure washer. Now, for washing cars, anything between 1,000 to 2,000 PSI is perfectly fine. You never want to go over 2,000 PSI because you don't want to risk damaging delicate surfaces, right? So 1,000 to 2,000 PSI, the higher the GPM, so the gallons per minute of water output, the better. In this case, I'm using my Krenzle 1122 TST, which pumps out 2.1 gallons per minute of water output at 1,000 PSI. So just perfect. That's the Goldilocks for washing vehicles. But anything over 1.4 gallons per minute, even with base, less expensive pressure washers, is totally fine. But I really enjoy using a pressure washer, and I use a 40-degree tip here. So that has a bigger fan spread because we want to spread the product first when we're applying the spray-on rinse-off sealant, and I want to get good coverage. So for washing the vehicle, I like to use a 40-degree tip once again. You can use a garden hose if that's all you have. However, make sure that it has enough pressure. Put it in the strong stream setting as well, because if you're just flooding the panel with just normal water out of the garden hose without an actual gun or trigger, it won't work that well. So a strong stream of water is very important with these. Always start by shaking your chemicals. Very important, regardless of which chemicals you have. So now we're ready to start applying. So again, read the instructions because some of them you're going to cover with more mists, but usually I find that less is better. In the case of the Clean by Pan, the Organizer ceramic spray sealant, 1 to 2 sprays per panel max. That's all you need. Don't over apply. Again, you run the risk of oversaturating, smearing, streaking, all that kind of stuff. So 1 to 2 sprays on the panel, maybe 1 spray on the glass. Then we're going to spread the product by rinsing from bottom to top and then top to bottom for the final rinse. And hopefully we're going to have those hydrophobics intact and we're going to get better gloss and better slickness. So this is a great maintenance topper for any type protection you have on your vehicle. So let's mist 1 spray here, 2 sprays, that's more than enough, and 1 on the glass. That's all, guys. And we immediately start rinsing from bottom to top, in this case, to spread the product evenly. So you don't have to spray all over. It's going to spread with the water. And there you go. So we can tell the water beading and the water sheeting is still intact. We're getting these beautiful tight round water beads. We did not alter the properties of the protection underneath. So good quality ceramic spray sealants that can be used in a spray on rinse off type application will actually do that for you, all while giving you the boost of gloss and slickness. And if you were to use these on unprotected paint and the water is just flat before you apply it, well, when you spray and you rinse off, where you're going to get nice tight round water beads and some great water sheeting, you're getting that protection. So again, let's watch these hydrophobic properties. As soon as I let go, that water just sheets off. Boom, all those water droplets go down. So that is how simple it is to use. Now, as I said, you can use this on the majority of the surfaces, right? What about the wheels pan? Well, let's go ahead, because yes, you can use this on wheels too. So on the wheels, guys, if you don't have the tools required to do a wheels off ceramic coating, meaning removing the wheels from the body of the vehicle and ceramic coating the faces and the inner barrels, this is a great way to add some protection. Now, of course, this is a harsher environment. Don't expect many, many months of durability from spray on rinse off sealants on wheels, but you can expect a few months. 1 to 3 months is usually what we see on these. But again, very, very simple to add hydrophobic properties, especially in those inner barrels. In just a few seconds, you protected your wheel, and it makes them much easier to clean during your maintenance washes. So the same principle, you're going to take your spray on rinse off sealant, make sure that you shake it well. On these, a few sprays on the wheel, and then in the inner barrels, a few sprays there. There you go. And then we're going to take the pressure washer, and you guessed it, we're going to rinse from bottom to top and top to bottom. And then hopefully you can tell those awesome hydrophobic properties. Let me bring you in for a close-up. So now we have beautiful water beading, quick sheeting. And the cool thing is we were able to coat inside those barrels. Look at that. See that? So you're getting water beading all the way inside the wheels. So drying these is going to be a breeze. And that's how simple this is. Now, let me show you from further back so you can see with this angle. If I were to do, for example, the entire side of the vehicle, including the wheels, how I would do it. So you guys see that kind of in like real time. So you would come here, of course, shake your chemical, 1 mist on the glass, and then 2 mists on the paintwork is all you need. And of course, on the wheels, you can go a little heavier on the wheels and in the inner barrels, and now rinse from bottom to top. And then I would come here, again, 1, 2, and 1, because I work in a controlled environment. I could do more than a panel if I would want to, but ideally, again, work on a single panel at a time. So you're seeing that white creamy thing? That's when you're spreading the product. And now final rinse top to bottom. Another quick pro tip with spray on rinse off sealants, while you can coat the side glass, absolutely no problem, and in theory you can do all the glass, I would avoid coating the windshield, in my opinion. I prefer a dedicated glass coating on a windshield and leave it as is. Maintenance is just cleaning the vehicle or using a glass cleaner to clean your windshield, and that is it. I wouldn't apply any topper on that because you don't want to risk having some streaking, right? Some hazing type thing, or wiper judder by overstacking protection on the windshield. And by wiper judder, I mean that wiper skipping. So you might have seen that depending on which one you're using. But when the windshield wipers are moving back and forth, sometimes they'll skip. So you can run into that if you're overstacking, you're not sure of product compatibility, that kind of thing. So side glass, no problem. But just in my opinion, I would avoid using spray on rinse off type sealants on the windshield. So now we have insane hydrophobic properties, and at this point I can use a contactless drying method with a leaf blower or a car dryer. You blow dry the vehicle and you're good to go. So a touchless way of protecting, a touchless way of drying. So you're adding gloss, you're adding slickness, you're adding protection, you're drying the vehicle and you're minimizing no scratches, no marring because you're not touching the thing. So if you're in a pinch and you want to do something very quick for maintenance, this is as quick as it gets. So let's quickly dry it off now so you can see how the process would look like. By the way, here I'm using my Ego 650 CFM. This is a leaf blower with a 5 amp hour battery. This is a monster. And that's all there is to it, guys. That's how simple it is to use a spray-on rinse-off sealant. So again, you can use it as a standalone paint protection if you don't have any protection on your paint, or if you have a wax, a paint sealant, a ceramic spray, or a ceramic coating, you can use this as a maintenance topper, and it is so fun and simple to do. And as you can tell, very quick and efficient, and it just makes the drying process as well much quicker because the hydrophobic properties that you're getting from this helps expel the water a lot quicker with the air. And yeah, so just as a quick recap, by the way, I'll leave the links to all this stuff in the description under the video, but as a quick recap, always start by washing your vehicle first, thoroughly rinse the vehicle when you're done, and then make sure it's still wet. Make sure you're not working in direct sunlight or on hot panels to avoid streaking and getting a better user experience. Always read the instructions of the product to make sure you're understanding how to properly use it from the manufacturer itself. Shake your chemicals before use, and then a few light mists depending on which product you're using. 1 to 2 mists per panel is usually fine. Some might require a little more. Again, read the instructions, and then you can start rinsing from bottom to top to spread the product correctly, and then a final rinse from top to bottom to make sure there's no residue left behind. I work 1 panel at a time. That's what I recommend that you guys do unless you're in a controlled environment like I am. But again, follow the instructions. Working 1 panel at a time is always the best for the user experience, and then you're avoiding streaking, or you're avoiding the product if you're starting here and then working around the vehicle and then coming back to rinse off. Maybe it dried on you, who knows, right? So working 1 panel at a time is truly important. Using a strong stream of water, ideally from a pressure washer, is absolutely required, right? Or at least from a garden hose with enough pressure, because if you're using just a very weak stream of water from a garden hose without any spray gun or any strong stream settings, you're not going to enjoy the experience. You're not going to get the plenty performance out of the product. So usually those are issues that people run into, and when we start troubleshooting with them, that's one thing we notice is they're not using an appropriate strong stream of water. And then when you're done at this point, you can use, as I did, your leaf blower or car dryer. If you do not have a blower to use, you can use a microfiber drying towel, no problem. But I would recommend that you always use a drying aid with that, right? So you're going to do a once over at the end to pick up all that residual water that's on there with your drying towel, but use a quick detail spray. Of course, the Clean by Pandy organizer, this is new to the market. Quick detailer. We focused on gloss and slickness with this, not long-term protection. So a few weeks to about a month at best, but it has UV protection. It has anti-static properties to help cut down a bit on that dust if you live in a dusty environment. But we focused mainly on that gloss, that slickness, and that lubrication on the surface. So it acts as a buffer between your drying towel and your paintwork. That way you're not inducing any marring during the towel drying stage. So you can mist a few mists per panel, work 1 panel at a time, dry the panel, and then again, you boosted the gloss and slickness again, and it's compatible with any type of protection. It will not alter the hydrophobic properties of what's underneath. But the star of the show today, well, the spray-on rinse-off type sealants. Of course, once again, Geon Wet Coat, CarPro Hydro 2 Light, Quiver Hot Coat, DIY Quick Beads. If there's any others that you guys like out there, let me know. But of course, the Clean by Pandy Organizer Ceramic Spray Sealant. So on decontaminated, prepped, dry paint, you can get 6 to 12 months of protection out of this, depending on your conditions, variables, all that. But as a drying aid, it works well. On dry, I wouldn't apply this every month because it's very stout. On a dry surface, if you want to use every wash or as a drying aid on a wet surface, use the quick detailer. That's better. But if you want to use this on every week, you can, as long as it's on a wet surface as a drying aid with your microfiber drying towel, or as we saw here, as a spray-on rinse-off sealant. 1 to 2 sprays max per panel, not more than that, because you're going to run into streaking issues. This is super stout, and you're going to enjoy the gloss, the slickness, the hydrophobics. It doesn't alter, by the way, whatever cool hydrophobics you have underneath, unless they're horrible from the product that you're using from another brand, whatever it may be. Well, this, in that case, can potentially increase or enhance those hydrophobics. But if you already have some wild ones, as you saw here, they will not degrade them. So just a perfect product, and you're going to enjoy. Let me know if you use this, by the way. Drop comments in the comment section so people can also read your comments. But yeah, spray on, rinse off sealants. Now, hopefully you know how to use them. If you know somebody that might benefit from this information, send them the video, share it with friends and family. Let's spread the word. Enjoy detailing. Again, all the tools, products, and equipment. I'll leave links in the description for you guys to check them out. If you want to continue to learn more about car detailing, all the products, equipment, tools, tips, and tricks, I have well over 1,000 videos on my channel at this point. I've been on YouTube for over 9 years now, and we're filming this in July of 2025. And you guys have made this one of the most successful car detailing channels on YouTube. We're well over 1 million subscribers at this point, 160 million views. It's just insane, and I have each and every one of you to thank for that. So hopefully you enjoyed the quick pro tips for using and understanding what spray-on, rinse-off sealants do, how to use them, the tips and tricks so you guys get a good user experience. Drop a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Of course, make sure you click the subscribe button that's found under this video, and that way you'll never miss my future videos, and you'll be alerted if you hit that notification bell every time I upload a new video to YouTube. So thanks for being there, and in the meantime, don't forget, keep it tight, keep it clean, and I'll see y'all on the next one.